Welcome to Militant Geek Preparedness. Today I want to talk about cutting tools. I'm very specific to the name cutting tools, and let me explain why. Most people in preparedness carry what they call an EDC. EDC stands for Everyday Carry. And in my everyday carry, I always have a minimum of 3 cutting tools. And I'm going to show them to you real quick to get those out of the way. I carry a Leatherman. This happens to be a Super Tool 300 Leatherman, and it's actually got multiple cutting tools. There's the regular blade there, and then it's got a saw here, which you can tell it does get used. Oh, actually that's the file, I'm sorry. That is not the saw, sorry. This is one of the saws that it has, right here, the serrated edge, and then it's got a regular type of a wood saw. So, this here has multiple cutting tools, and then of course if you want to talk about the wire cutters, you could include those too if you would like. So the reason why I am very particular to Leatherman is because they make an extremely durable tool. And if I were to mess up these cutters for the wire cutters, I can actually replace those. It gives me the ability to replace those. So you really can't go wrong with the Leatherman. I looked and I debated long and hard before I chose one, and I went with the Super Tool 300 because it was the best fit for me. So that would be my first cutting tool that I carry on me. My next cutting tool happens to be a BC Blades dinner skinner. Now, Mr. Dawson that made the knife for me is no longer with us. Rest in peace, brother. But I had traded him my services for a couple of knives. And this is what he calls his dinner skinner. And it has a spalted hackberry wood handle. I got to pick out the handle wood of my choice, so I went with the spalted hackberry. It's been stabilized, so don't have to worry about hackberry being a little bit of a softer kind of wood. So it's definitely not something like desert ironwood or nothing like that, but it has been stabilized, so I don't have to worry about the handle there. He also made me a neck knife. So this is a neck knife. It's kind of bulky and it is kind of heavy. I did put if you see that logo on there on the blade, that stands for rooted in Yahweh, in other words, God. So that's basically what that symbol means, rooted in God. And I put those on myself. And these are the 2 knives he made me. I don't carry the neck knife on me often because it's kind of weighty and it's kind of big. But it's a very, 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 very good knife. And the third one that I carry on me all the time is right here. And that is a Grow EF950. And specifically went with a knife like this to carry on my EDC, and yes, I know I need to clean it. This knife mostly gets used for like opening boxes, so it is what it is. That's what today's times call for, so that's what it gets used for. I do need to clean it up. It does look a little nasty. And I'm doing this video because today I'm going to go through all of my knives. I'm going to get them cleaned up. I'm going to get them all touched up, the edge on them all touched up. And I figured I would show you what I carry, what I have. So the reason why I am particular to cutting tools is because if you get stopped by law enforcement, one of the questions they're going to ask you is, do you have any weapons on you? Now, I'm not telling you not to tell them that you have a knife on you. Most certainly tell them that you have a blade on you. Absolutely. Don't withhold something like that. It can cause you some real problems. Do not let them refer to it as a weapon. It is a cutting tool. It is a knife. It doesn't become a weapon until you use it as a weapon. So when they ask you about if you have any weapons, my response is, I don't have any weapons, but I do have cutting tools. Okay, because that language that they like to throw around there actually can cause problems given the particular, certain particular situations. So don't don't let them give the preconceived notion that it's a weapon, because it's just a cutting tool. So anyway, I know, splitting hairs, mincing words, and all that. You do you, boo, but I carry cutting tools. They're not weapons. So I showed you those. Again, these two are from BC Blades, and the one, I've got a leather sheath, but it's on my belt, so that's why I'm pulling it out. These are from BC Blades. Most of the knives or cutting tools I'm going to be showing you are actually under $30 in cost. I kid you not. That doesn't include the ones from BC Blades. Traded him a website. I built him a website for his knife business, and he made me a dinner skinner and a neck knife. And most of the knives, however, that I'm going to be showing you are under $30, which is incredible. I've got another neck knife here, kind of dusty. This is, again, I'm going to clean all these up today and touch up the edge. This is a Duratec brand neck knife, and it's much smaller than the other one, okay, and it's a lot lighter. And I've got the, on here you can see I've got the rooted in yaw as well. So, these things, again, it's a Duratec neck knife. They're like $11.99. And when you get this thing, I am telling you, it is razor sharp. They really do put a nice edge on this. I have carried this, and it's much lighter than carrying the BC Blades neck knife, and smaller form factor and stuff. And this is a handy little cutting tool to be able to have on your person. So I don't like things around my neck, so that's why I don't always have a neck knife, because I don't really care for things being around my neck. So get those out of the way. Now, for those that don't know, I had to restart my preparedness journey about 11 years ago, because due to a failed marriage, and we won't go into that, but I lost everything. I lost all my preps. I lost everything. I didn't even have a cutting tool. Didn't even have a cutting tool. And I can remember Jen and I walking through Walmart shortly after we moved in together, and I saw this on an end rack at the Walmarts, and if I recall right, the price on this was $2.88. Okay? I have said multiple times that the way I do preparedness is I will fill a gap. I will fill a hole. And I will do what I can to fill that hole with something. And I did not have a knife. So I needed just a cheap knife. So the $3 Walmart end of the aisle knife was a good choice for me. I do not like this knife for a million reasons. For one, the thing is stiff. Majorly stiff to open and close. And the other thing is it's got what they call a liner lock. And that's you're probably really used to these liner locks, because that's the way they've made my knives for years. I can't stand a liner lock. I think they're dangerous. I don't think that they're a good choice at all. But again, I needed a cutting tool. The price is right, so I went with the $2.88 knife from Wally World. However, I like knives like this, which are much less stiff. And no, that's not assisted in any way. It's not an automatic knife. It's just, it rides on bearings, and it opens up real super easy, closes real super easy. I can do it with one hand, which is important, because if you only have one hand you can use, guess what? You better be able to use that hand. I don't even have to touch the blade to open this. I can just do that. Now this is what they call an axis lock. Okay? So, the axis lock locks directly into a little bitty indentation or nook into the blade here. And to me, they are much easier to access, to be able to manipulate that axis lock. And that's what I prefer on a folding knife, is an axis lock any day of the week. And I told you, most of the knives on this table are under $30. This is an EF 950. If anybody's interested, I'll put a link to it. It will be an Amazon affiliate link, but I'll put a link to it down in the description and in the first comment of the video on YouTube. And of course, in the post that I make on the Facebook group, I'll have a link to this. And right now, this one's like $26.99. And you can get a little bit cheaper. They're always putting coupons and special kind of deals on them. And Eef and Grow is really inexpensive, but in my opinion, they're an incredible choice. Got G10 scales. The handles are made out of G10 plastic, which is extremely durable. And the blade is made out of D2 steel, which, why it might not be the best, absolute best knife steel, D2 is definitely a good knife steel. And this thing will hold an edge. This thing, it's incredible. I mean, it wouldn't be in my EDC if it wouldn't be incredible. So I love this knife, and it's always on my person. So while we're talking about Eef and Grow, let me show you another Eef and Grow I've got. This is the EF 107 right here. And it's just a straight blade. It doesn't fold or anything like that. And this one, $29.99. And again, they've got coupons and they got deals if you buy two and stuff like that on Amazon. So I'll leave a link for it. Both of these knives I reviewed them on my Watchman News channel, and people have gone nuts over them, and people love them. I really haven't heard too many bad remarks on these Eef and Grow knives, and they're incredible. They take a good edge, they keep a good edge. This is the same. It's got the G10 scales, and it's got the D2 steel, and this knife has a pretty particular purpose, though. If I have any what I would consider a self-defense knife, this would probably be the one top of the list. I do have it set up so that I can Ranger carry on my belt. Ranger carry is carrying it horizontally in the small of your back, and so I do have this set up to where I can Ranger carry. And you know, if I would say that I've got a defense knife, a self-defense knife, or you know, a weapon, if you will, this would be the one. I don't always carry it. It's kind of heavy. It's got the Tech Lock, I believe they call it, belt attachment, and it's bulky and it's uncomfortable, and it is what it is. I've been looking for a long time for a better choice than this big, thick, bulky thing to be able to attach it to my belt in a Ranger carry configuration. So again, this is the EF 107, $29.99. You just cannot go wrong with it. This here is what they call a SOG Flash 2. When I had showed you my Eef and Grow, I said this wasn't assisted in any way, and it's not. It's assisted by me. This is what they call an assisted opening knife. What it is there is a spring in here. It's not an automatic knife, which is where you can push a button and it opens on its own. This is an assisted, spring assisted open, and all you have to do is start the movement, and it's got a spring in it that will take it open the rest of the way. It's a little stiff. It probably needs to be cleaned and gone through. I've got a video again on the Watchman News channel to where I actually disassemble this and clean it and lubricate it, show people how to do that. This is a SOG Flash 2. I don't think they make these anymore. And I bought this because I thought I would really like it, being an assisted open. It's got the axis lock that I like. I really don't like this feature. It's a safety is what it is. So if you close the knife up and you push that down, you can't open the knife. So it's a safety. Unfortunately, if that gets inadvertently turned on in your pocket and you don't know it, well, then it kind of gets rid of the whole purpose of the assisted open. So, and then it's manually closed. You have to manually close it. SOG Flash 2. I bought this because I thought I would like it, and I do like it. I really love the design of it. I love the handle design of it, but it is it takes quite a bit of force to get it started to open. I'm not a fan of that. And it just doesn't, I don't know. It's just not my cup of tea. Sog Flash 2, I like it. I hang on to it. And, I like it to some extent. I hang on to it. But it's not something that qualifies for my EDC at all. So, next up, Old Timer. This was gifted to me. It was a gift set. It had this knife. It had a little bitty pen knife. I can't remember if there's a third knife in the little tin. I don't think so. I think it was just this and the little pen knife. The little pen knife broke on me. But Schrade is who makes these. This is known as a sharp finger, is what this is known for. And I absolutely love the design of the sharp finger. It did not come with the paracord on the handle. I thought the handle was a little small for my taste, and so I paracord wrapped it to make it larger, and it's absolutely perfect now. This would absolutely be in my EDC if I had a way to Ranger carry it. And I've been wanting to get some Kydex and some of the foam, some of the, and some wood to make my form and stuff, because I would really like to make a Kydex sheath for this with a Ranger carry configuration. This would also, in my opinion, be considered a self-defense style of knife. And to be real honest, I'd rather carry that for self-defense than I would this. I just would. I love the style. I love the shape. And it's an incredible knife. It's just I've got the sheath about worn out, and it's not a Ranger carry sheath. And so this is no longer a part of my EDC, but I do keep it in my bug out bag. I keep that in my bug out bag. This one stays in my bug out bag. Believe it or not, I throw that one in my bug out bag. And this one is in my bug out bag. So that's where those four normally reside, is actually in my bug out bag. So slide those off to the side here. Oops. And I showed you one here. I've got 3. And these are from a company called Moraknife. And hopefully I'm not mispronouncing the name, but I probably am. It's just Morakniv. All one word. I say it, I pronounce it Moraknife. I don't know if that's correct or not, but we commonly refer to them as Mora. So, Mora is a very inexpensive, yet a very high quality knife. They are made in Sweden. And I cannot tell you good enough things about these knives. There's just no way. These two were gifted to me. And I looked to try to find a number on this knife to find the actual knife, but I couldn't locate one. So I don't know. It's an 8-inch blade. I use it as a kitchen knife, and I've had to fix the tip on it. And when I first started using my work sharp, I got a little too crazy with it, and so you can see where I stayed on that little spot there for a little long. And but I use this for a kitchen knife, and my goodness, is it an incredible kitchen knife. Now, this is the only stainless steel Mora that I own. The rest of the Moras I have are high carbon steel. You can usually get it either way, high carbon steel or stainless steel. I prefer the high carbon steel for most things, but for something like a kitchen knife, stainless steel is better. This here is they call it the all-around, Mora all-around, and I don't think that they produce it anymore. The number on it's 711. It's a Moraknife 711. All-around is what they call it, and it is. It's kind of an all-around knife. I do need to go through and touch this one up and sharpen it. More knives, their style of blade is this entire section here that you look at that's all kind of looks messed up. They're sharp. Probably shouldn't run your finger on it like that. That is all going into the edge. In other words, I forget what I think they call it a saber grind, if I'm not mistaken. They call it a saber grind, which is my very favorite type of grind. And so, saber grind knives are, in my opinion, they hold up the edge holds up very, very well. They cut very, very well. So that's how they sharpen their knives, and I recommend you try to keep that going on. This, I did not do that. Again, I used the work sharp. I'll be showing you that here in a second. So I did not keep the saber grind. I went to more of a V grind. And this here is a Moore knife, Craft Line Basic 511. And the all-around knife, I did find it out there. I don't think they're being made anymore, but I found it out there, still available. And the place was wanting $13 for that. 13 bucks, right? As I was telling you about the Craft Line Basic 511, you can still get this. You can get it on Amazon. And this is an incredible knife. Moore makes really incredible knives. This one, Amazon's got it for $11.49. I'm telling you, they inexpensive and really good. And I haven't found any numbers on this. I couldn't tell you what it cost or anything like that. I know that he bought it from a knife shop that's somewhat local to here. So, couldn't tell you on anything more than that. And then, I've got two other cutting tools. I saved my favorite for last. But before we get to my favorite knife, I have a Corona razor tooth saw. Now this isn't for cutting your steak dinner. This is for trees. So if you need to cut limbs and stuff like that, I highly recommend this. And it's a lot cheaper than some of the other alternatives out there. Silky is a very popular brand of little pruning saw, if you will, but they're pricey, and I think the Corona razor tooth is incredible. The thing works great. So definitely, if you're looking for a little saw, a packable saw, the Corona razor tooth, in my opinion, is the way to go. Give me a second and I will grab my favorite knife, and then we'll get into the care and maintenance of them. My favorite knife is a Schrade SCHF 43, more commonly known as a Jessex knife, and that is it. I absolutely love this knife. Again, it's referred to as a Jessex or a Jessica X. The designer of this knife had designed it and had worked with Schrade to produce the knife, and he called it the Jessica X. And Jessica his name's Chris Tanner. He goes by Prepared Mind 101, I believe. And so Jessica was, I think, a not so mythical female's name that he thought was like the ultimate woman. And so that's why he nicknamed this Jess X or Jessica X. And it's just a beefy, I mean, look at the spine on that thing. And it's just a really beefy knife. And these things, I love the handle, because if you need to do chopping and stuff, you don't have to worry about the knife slipping out of your hand. You can grab this in so many different ways. You can even choke up on it way up high if you're trying to do something a little more fine-tuned with it, like feathering a stick or something. Or like I say, you can grab it in the back and you can chop with it and not have to worry about the thing flying out of your hand. I love these. You can get them similar to this today. If you look around, if you search what I had said, Schrade SCHF 43, you can find them. But you're not going to get this exact knife. Now, I got in on an interesting run on these because Mr. Tanner had cut a deal with Schrade to produce these. And so everything was going good at first. And he was very particular about his design. The blade had to be hardened in just a certain manner. And it had to have that saber grind. That's the only type of way that he wanted that blade to be done, with the saber grind. However, Schrade, unknown to him, started producing these with what they call a hollow grind, which means that right there, instead of it just going straight down from this angle here, which is the saber, The hollow grind makes it kind of concave. There's a little concave part right there. And Schrade, not only were they heat treating them incorrectly, but they started hollow grinding them. And Mr. Tanner said not no, but hell no. And he pulled the rights for Schrade to be able to produce these under his name. The ones that initially came out had Prepared Mind 101's logo on this side of the knife. You notice that there is no logo on this side. The reason why is because after he cut ties with Schrade, Schrade tried to please him, and they made another run of the Just X knife, and they did so correctly. They heat tempered it correctly. They did the saber grind correctly. They did everything correctly on that run, but Chris was not interested in trying to work something out with them. So these got thrown on a knife website at a very big discount. $30 is what it cost for this. They put it on a knife website very cheap so they could just sell out the stock. And Chris was nice enough to let the people that watch his videos know that there is a lot of them. And when I say a lot, I don't mean there were a ton of them, but they threw all of them that they had made up on the knife, on the website, I mean. And I was lucky enough to be able to get in on one. Again, it's known, the nickname's Jess X or Jessica X, and this is just an absolute incredible knife. So let's talk a little bit about knife care, and we'll go from there. And I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it, but going to talk to you about it a little bit. Alrighty, let's talk maintenance. So here I have my BC Blades dinner skinner, and I did take the sheath off of my belt, and the reason why is because I needed to work with the sheath as well. So the sheath had started to get really loose, and I didn't like that the knife could just simply fall right out of the sheath without any problems. It would just fall right out, and so I wanted to tighten up the sheath a little bit. What I did is I soaked it's a leather sheath obviously, and I soaked it in water just for a little bit, maybe about 5 minutes, and then I wrapped the knife with saran wrap so it wouldn't have water sitting on it, and I put the knife inside of the sheath, and then I just used my thumbs and I worked around and tried to form it to the knife to the best of my ability, and I tightened it up here a little bit, and I pulled the knife out. And then what I will do is I actually put it in one of my kitchen cabinets just to keep it dark, kind of coolish without it being too cool, and I will let this dry out, and as soon as it's done drying out, then I will give it a nice coat with the Neat's Foot oil to help protect the leather. And that's how I am tightening up my leather sheath. So I wanted to explain that to you. And so it's a high carbon steel. I believe this is 1095 is what he used when he made this knife. And as you can see, it does patina. And so this knife gets used like all the time. I couldn't quite say every day, but it's pretty close. I couldn't even begin to tell you how many potatoes that this knife has cut, because that's what it gets used for most. I use it to cut homemade hand-cut French fries, and I use it to cut up potatoes into chunks to be able to make homemade mashed potatoes. And so this thing sees a lot of mashed potatoes. Over the years, I have started to get a little bit of a haze on my handles. The scales is what knife makers call them. And there's a haze there. Now, when he made this knife, he finished it by using a high-speed buffer on it, and polished up the handles really nice and shiny. And it's been several years ago, and it's getting this kind of this white haze on it. And so what I'm going to do, I've got a couple of sandpapers here, and I've got 1000 grit here, I've got some 2500 grit here, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of this 1000 grit. Let me go ahead and I'm going to fold it here because I just want a little piece of it. I don't want that whole thing. And so I'm going to fold it one way, flip it over, fold it the other way, and just for good practice I'll fold it back again, and it should tear just like that. So Now I've got me a little piece. I'm going to try to stay away from the blade. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try to give it a little bit of a sanding here, just to try to remove whatever that haze is. I'm not quite sure what that is. I have no idea. And by the way, I am not a knife smith, so I'm not saying that this is the best way to go about this or anything of the sort. But you can see just that right there has kind of, there's actually, it looks like he had a gloss, kind of a gloss on it from the buffing. And so I'm going to take that gloss off, like it's off there. And now I'm going to just do the same thing with the knife. This thing is very sharp, so I'm just going to real gently sand. And what I'm looking to do is to get it all kind of a uniform, kind of a dull. It's going to actually look like I'm putting the haze everywhere, which I guess in a sense I kind of am. But I'm just going to give it a light sand. And just bear with me while I do this. Won't take too long. This is stabilized wood. I mentioned that before. It is stabilized. This was wood that actually came out of his yard. He had a tree that he had to take down, and happened to be hackberry. And so he liked the look of the wood. And so he sent it off to be stabilized. And when I was picking out what I wanted my knife handle material to be made out of, I told him I liked the spalted and the burled kind of stuff, and so he laid a bunch of it out for me and took a picture, nice good clear picture of it, and asked me which one I wanted. And I went with the spalted hackberry. I could have had the choice of any of the handle woods that he had, which boy does he have some gorgeous ones. But for some reason I just liked this. I don't know why. I can't necessarily say it was the prettiest wood he had, because boy did he have some really gorgeous stuff. And the other thing is, you know, this was a barter deal. I was trading my website services for his knife making services. And hit that just a little more. And so I didn't want the most expensive knife wood he had, because boy, some of that he had was pricey. So I am almost there. Kind of like a little polish spot I see there on the end. I'm kind of trying to dull up a little bit here. And I'm going to continue. And who knows, maybe when I get done with this, maybe it'll look better than it did originally when I got it from him. Because not a lot of people are really big fans of having a high polish on a knife handle. Now, a lot of people will tell you that's because it makes it harder to hold on to. So, me, I don't plan on fighting a whole platoon of aliens with my dinner skinner. So, and, you know, it's designed essentially to be a skinning knife. And I don't hunt, so I don't skin. At least not now. But things happen to go sideways. That could change. My thumb is cramping, so my apologies. I'm doing my best to do this timely, but my thumb's saying all kinds of curse words to me right now, and letting me know that it's about had enough. Arthritis is no joke, folks. Okay, I got that spot that I said was looking kind of glossy. I'm going to come up there a little bit and hit it again, because... Okay, got it around. Let me get the butt of the knife. I don't know what the end result's going to look like here, but I guess we'll find out together, huh? And I got the 2500 grit just in case I needed it. I don't think I'm going to need it, to be honest. Don't think I'm going to need it. I kind of like the feel of that. So, now that I've done that, let me go ahead and start on the next part. And you can use, you know, something like 1000 grit or 600 grit or whatever. He gave two options when he made knives. He gave the option of a satin finish or the option of a polished finish. And boy, could he make it look like a mirror. But since I was actually going to be using my knife, I opted for the satin finish. So he told me the best way, if it's starting to patina, is just to take a scrubby pad, one direction, and you just, and by the way, I'll show you that patina again so you can see the patina on the blade there and kind of get an idea of how much patina it's got, if I can get my hands right. Okay, and I'm just going one direction. No, not the boy band. I'm going one direction this. And why, I don't know, but that's what he told me to do. Whether it's sanding or whether it's doing this, one direction. And starting to clean up. What I'm going to do is a little piece of leather here. I'm going to set the knife tip on that so it gives me something. And so in one direction, I'm just going to continue to take my little scouring pad. Again, I'm not an expert, I'm not a professional, I'm just me, and me is showing you what I do to take care of my blades. And I am pretty particular when it comes to this knife and the matching neck knife because, well, Brad Dawson was an incredible man, and I really enjoyed the time I spent talking to him. Enjoyed building him a website. Yes, I know I'm going both directions. I'm just trying to get in a little bit of nooks there. I enjoyed our friendship. And he had passed away in this past year. And or has it been a little over a year now? Not quite sure. It might be just over a year now. But I know I miss him. He was a great guy. And I will forever cherish the knives that he had given me. Okay. Let me kind of go back and forth just to kind of rough this up, and then I'll go the one direction to kind of get it back uniform. I'm not going to go super crazy on it right now because I'm making a video. I do normally really spend my time with it, but as you can see, a lot of that patina is gone. There's still quite a bit there, but I'm going to call it good just for now because I'm making a video. And then what I do is I take my guided field sharpener. Could not recommend this sharpener enough. And this should be, yeah, I might go ahead and drag it a time or two across the stone. And this is what taught me how to sharpen a knife, was this guided field sharpener. I could not sharpen a knife really well, and this thing has helped me learn to sharpen them like razor blades. And I am not a sharpening expert. So, that's feeling pretty good. And then I have the ceramic on here, on the fine. Drag it across there a couple of times. And you kind of get a feel for it. You kind of can feel it when it's kind of grabbing on the metal. And that feels pretty good. And this does have a leather strip on it. right here. But I use this piece of leather here because it's bigger. And I just strop it a few times on there. I'll do it on the rough side, and I strop it a few times on the smooth side. And I assure you that this is razor sharp. This is an insanely sharp knife. Now that I've got that done, I'm going to grab my neat split oil here. The same thing that I'm going to use to apply onto the leather once it's dry. And I am just going to grab me a little bit here. I want you to take a good look at this handle before I touch it. Okay, before I touch it, if I can get my hands right and get it in the light how I want. I'm so bad at this, I know. And I'm going to take that and I'm just going to wipe it down good. Get it down in there. I'm not so much worried about the blade because, again, this knife gets used almost daily. So, oh my goodness. And I'm just going to rub it all in there good. Just like that. Get the butt end of the knife there. And now I'm going to take a drier piece of this to get the excess off. Okay. And then, should have had another rag with me, but I don't have another one here handy, so. Take a look at that beautimous handle. So, that's what I do. Like I say, that's the first time I've reconditioned the handle there. But I love the way that turned out. Let me reach over and grab the neck knife here. Now here's the neck knife. I've not done anything with the handle of that. But there's the two. And I do see a definite difference in the look between the two. And I will certainly be doing what I just did to this one So, anyway, don't know what else to add. Any of the knives that have links, I will provide affiliate links in the description and whatnot. Same as, I know I didn't use the WorkSharp electric one here. And I don't necessarily prefer to use that. And the reason why is because I like a nice V grind. I don't like a hollow grind or concave, or I don't like a convex grind. And this will turn the blade into a convex grind, and I don't like that. I just like that straight V grind, and so that's why I hand sharpen it. And but I will go ahead and include a link for the WorkSharp, both the electric one here and the guided field sharpener. You know, this is a kind of if you want to. I'm not an ultra professional knife sharpener, so when it comes to larger knives, I prefer not trying to do it by hand because I'm not that good. And so I'll use this for the larger knives. And then I'm telling you, this thing here is worth its weight in gold. If I were to tell people to get, you know, if they could get one sharpener and that's the only sharpener they could get, that is the sharpener that I would tell people to get. And I also have something else I want to show you before I let you go here. This is my fire bag. We've talked about it in other videos a little bit. Inside my fire bag, I've got tons of ways to start firing here. And that's just where I happen to put these. And I'll put a link to these as well. They're from Die Sharp. And what they are is credit card sized sharpening stones. And I carry these in my bug out bag. Obviously it's in with my fire making materials here. You know, and it's got, there's a coarse, a medium, and a fine. I don't know by color what they are. So that kind of feels like fine, but I'm not. Yeah, this is extra fine is actually what they call it. And then the blue here is, this is the coarse here. And then the red is going to be, what do they call it? Fine. So, you got coarse, fine, and extra fine. And these hold up really well. They work very well. They are very compact. And so that you can store them in your bug out bag or put them in your wallet. I mean, that's essentially the size that they are. You could just put them in your wallet if you chose to. And I think they're like just under 24 bucks or somewhere around 24 bucks for a set of these. And I'll put an affiliate link for these in the description of this video as well. So that way you have a source for these. I do highly recommend these for a bug out bag. But then again, I also recommend that for a bug out bag. And to be honest, if I did have to bug out, you better believe that this is on the list of things to grab out of my sharpening tools to throw in my bug out bag, so I've got it. Because again, this thing is incredible. It's got kind of a coarse grind on this side, fine on this side, and then it's got your ceramic. It's got a, flip it around here, it's got a coarse side for the ceramic, and then the fine side for the ceramic, and it's also got a part to where you can sharpen fish hooks with it. So, if that's your thing. But and it does have leather on it. Again, I don't use that. I use the bigger piece of leather I've got here. And there you go. So, that is awesome. I can't wait until my sheath dries, so I can oil it back up, get it reconditioned, and put it back on my belt, because I feel naked without this on me. To be real honest, I do. Anyway, cutting tools. They are absolutely imperative in any type of preparedness or any everyday life situation. That's why I carry 3 cutting tools on me at all times. I'll tell you what, the most valuable tool I own is that right there. My Leatherman Super Tool 300. I use this thing more than you can even come close to imagining. It is the most useful little multi-tool, and it's held up very, very well over the years. Even the black, whatever they call that, I don't know if they call it oxidized, anodized, or whatever they call that, but it is even held up nice, which I was really, really surprised at. So, looking for a good multi-tool, Leatherman is what I recommend. But take a look around at all they have to offer. They have got a ton of different versions of their multi-tools. This one seemed to fit my purposes the best. May not fit your purposes the best. So find what it is that will and run with it. So anyway, I hope I could have helped you learn a little bit about cutting tools, give you some ideas of some cutting tools that you may be interested in, and you know, hopefully overall it was an informal video. I hope you have a wonderful and blessed day. Shalom.